Be young.
Hey, we're back with Cocktails with Nickie this Friday, September 25th. Today we have Olivia Scott. Hey, Olivia.
Hi, Sunshine. How are you?
I'm good. I told you I was a little bit tired today, but I'm here.
Well, first of all, I always respect the fact that you are such a hard worker and that you made time to still do this. You could have been like, you know what, I'm canceling cocktails with Nickie, with Olivia, and I'm glad you still made it happen. Number two, the headpiece. What's happening? I love it. What's going on?
I didn't have time to get my hair done today, so I said, let me just put a little floral number on my hair. It'll do.
It's cute. I like
Thank
it.
you. Except for this leaf thing is sticking out. That's not really a good look. Maybe I need to tuck it in or something.
But it could be just like tired like you. And it's just like whatever. It's like I was trying to hang in there and hang with this woman all day, but she's got me doing the most. So
this is what it is today. Did you find it quite funny that my daughter texted you?
I did.
Yeah.
I love that you have her working so early.
I was getting my eyelashes done, so of course I can't necessarily, I don't know if you like them. Do you see them?
I do. Yeah. I do. Those are pretty.
I was getting my eyelashes done and I was like, oh my God, I have to text Olivia. And then I was like, who can text them? I was like, Carter can. So that was her texting you. At first she called you and she said you didn't answer.
Yes.
And then she sent a text message.
Yes, because I was actually having like little afternoon drinks at that point with a colleague.
I am so jealous.
Yeah, and it was my friend. I usually don't do that kind of thing, but he was like, why not? And I was like, you know what? I have worked really hard the last 2 weeks, like dizzy, very much so. So I did.
Oh my God, Yaku's on. Hey, girl.
Hey, Haku.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Shout out to Haku.
So you've already had your pre-game drinks already?
I have, but I have another one.
Okay, good.
It's been a lot. And Ihaku has a really fun story, I think, if she's still there. I don't drink very much. It's not something that and more just because I just didn't and whatever. And we had, I think it was a year or so ago, there was like an Essence, like dinner, and I hadn't had alcohol in like a while. And I had like a full glass of wine and I stood up and I was like, oh my God, what's happening? I just kind of felt nice. And I was like, Ihaku, what do I do right now? And she's like, drink some water. And I was like, okay. So I appreciated her for that moment.
Oh my gosh, she goes, LOL, yes, that story. Okay. You know what? Next time we're just going to have to join you on Cocktails with Nickie. We're going to have you on here in a couple of weeks to tell us about what you do as well. But back to Olivia. So tell everybody who you are and what you do.
I am a teacher. It's interesting. And I say that because my girlfriend came to visit me last week. And, we have all these like slashes, Nickie, and I know you have a lot of slashes as well. And, this. And she was like, but at your core, who are you? And I said, I'm a teacher. And I think that's I'm going to stick with that, but I will tell you what I do professionally, right? So I am a professor. I've been at NYU as a professor for 11 years, marketing. And I've also taught at other schools as well. But I have a marketing consultancy. And with that marketing consultancy, you have a lot of teaching of what you do to your clients and people who work for you. So it's a constant like consulting around what you do in the marketing realm. And it's interesting because I know that you probably deal with this a lot. People come to me quite a bit for PR because they think that PR is marketing, and PR is marketing, but it's a facet of marketing. So yeah. I am not a public relations communications specialist. I am a paid and strategic marketing specialist. So if you're looking for a marketing strategy that includes media placements, paid, owned, and earned, that is when you come to me. That's what I've been doing the longest since I feel like a little girl when I first started my career at Leo Burnett in 1995 in Chicago.
Oh, so are you
Yeah.
from Chicago?
Nope, I'm from Memphis.
And I knew that, but how did you get to Chicago? That's like the next major city from Memphis.
No, I went to Mizzou, went to University of Missouri for journalism school.
Okay,
And
my
so,
grandmother went there.
who went there?
My grandmother.
Yes! Wow, that's awesome.
You touched there too, I believe.
Wow. Yes, I went to Mizzou, and then when you graduate from Mizzou, you either do Chicago, St. Louis, or Kansas City. It's one of those three out of Chicago. Out of Columbia, Missouri. So I did Chicago, and then I was there for 5 years. And after being in Chicago for 5 years, I'd done DDB, Frankel, Ogilvy, and DDB, Frankel, Ogilvy, and Burnett. Those 4 agencies.
And those are the larger marketing firms, correct?
Advertising agencies.
You also do PR as well.
No, they weren't PR. Those like Edelman, Golden Harris. We were adjacent to those agencies, but they were very clear. We were marketing and promotions firms and advertising, and then the PR firms were the PR firms, right? And we had PR factions, but we really left like the PR to Golden Harris, Edelman, and I had friends that worked at those agencies too. So after being in Chicago for 5 years, I was like, I want to get out of working for an agency. It's interesting. I was telling someone earlier, I was the age, because the people who are the age I am now, I look to them and the agencies like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be that age working at an agency, right? I didn't want to be in my 40s working at an agency. Now I own one, but at that time, we used to work, when you work at an ad agency, you're working all day, every day. We would be there, because this is before we had like email and before we had all the ability to get messages to our clients overnight. We had a plane. We had faxing. But like, so for instance, right, if we had a campaign, what we called a POP kit, point of purchase kit, that we were printing, we had to get it to our client for a certain day. We'd have to stay in the office until like 2 a.m. to get that thing done, get it printed internally, and then shipped. We had a plane that would wait. This is when I was at Frankel, and then ship the stuff to our clients the next day when we did promotion stuff. So it's kind of an interesting, at that point, I was like, I don't want to work this hard in my 40s, is what I said. So I wanted to get out of the advertising agencies and transition from advertising over to the media side. So Chicago has a lot of CPG companies, McDonald's, Quaker Oats, Wrigley, and I wanted to work for an entertainment company. So that's when I moved to New York City in 2001. And I freelanced, did draft, did direct mail campaigns, still did what I did because I've been doing, I was a good account manager, but I was like, no, I want to work on the media side. And so we shifted over to in-demand television. That was my first role there, director of promotions. And then from in-demand, I was recruited to go work at Live Nation as their vice president of sponsorship marketing. Did that for 4.5 years, on tours, on the road, really, really good stuff. Jennifer Lopez.
Who you on tour with?
Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony.
Oh, wow.
2 years. Well, it was the Mark Anthony tour, I should tell you that. So Mark Anthony had 3 years with ING, Juntos en Concierto. That was the name of the concert tour. So he was the main artist, and then each year we swapped it out. So I did 2 years, 06 and 07. And then we had all kinds of other programs like the Hilton Theater on 42nd Street. That was my project. I had the Motorola program with Timbaland, Questlove, Mona Scott Young, all those programs that we did at Live Nation. So I managed some of those programs. And after 4.5 years, what I found was that my projects were just getting bigger. My first little sponsorship program was like $200,000, and I ended with like a $10 million global deal. And I found that I wasn't learning anything more. I was just learning how to do more marketing and sponsorship execution globally, but I wasn't learning a new skill. I had people working for me at that point, and I really enjoyed what I did. Mm-hmm. And it was around that time that Vibe called, and they recruited me to be their head of marketing, associate publisher. And that was really big for me because I was a charter subscriber of the magazine. I love Vibe magazine.
Now, what is the charter subscriber, like the beginning of Vibe?
Yep. Okay. Yep. Very, very beginning. So that was kind of cool that I was asked to go, head up marketing there. And it was amazing. That was my favorite job ever, being a journalist by trade, from Mizzou, actually being a journalist and working with journalists. It couldn't have gotten any better. It was like, this is literally nirvana. you know.
So how long were you at Vibe for?
Well, that's the special part. I was there for a year because we folded at a year mark.
Okay.
And I remember I tell people, like, my father must have had a premonition, because when I was leaving Live Nation at my own volition, like my boss cried, my boss, Darren Wolf, it was a moment. And he was like, are you sure you want to do this? You know, I was the only African, we still talk about only African-American female, period, that was at the vice president level, and the only Black vice president. And he was like, are you sure? Will you ever have this opportunity again? This is a pretty, you're at a great company. And I was like, no, I want to work for Vibe. And then I got there and we folded within a year. And and it's well documented, you know, I wrote about it on a Medium article. The shutdown was pretty colossal. Like, we were told, the top 6 of us were invited on a Monday night at 6 p.m. to go have dinner offsite. And we were told we were closing the next day at 2:00. I was to work with the PR team to share the reason why to the press, why we were folding. The banks were going to come seize our property. We would be escorted out at 6 p.m. the next day. We were not sure we were going to be getting severance or any payments after that. No paychecks.
Wow. But Vibe is back. So
and we knew that was happening, Nickie. We knew that what it was kind of almost an over mortgage situation where the brand at that time had a lot of debt. There was a debt burden for the owners of the company at that time. So they had to sell, liquidate, and then come back in a different format. So immediately thereafter, the brand became a digital faction only, Vibe.com, with a 4 times a year print supplement. And then at a certain point, they kind of did away with the print altogether. But we were there when we were like printing pages there, closing magazines at night and all that stuff there. So when Vibe folded in July of 2009, that time, for me, it was like, okay, I was in graduate school, paying for my graduate school from my salary. And so my prayer to God was really simple. It was, okay, I just want to be able to pay for my graduate school education without taking out a loan. That was all I wanted.
So was your graduate school matriculation like your plan B or C? Like, what was your game plan for getting the master's, or you got a master's, correct?
I'm thinking about a PhD now. Like, friends are like trying to get me to go there. But anyway, now, you know, my friend, and I really appreciate her. She's like, listen, you've been at NYU for a little bit now. You never want to get to a point in academia where there's a role you want that you can't qualify for. So get the master's. Just get it. I don't care what you're getting in. And it was really good advice, because when the program I was teaching in at NYU converted to graduate level, because I was teaching like night school, like certificate program, like
the continuing education.
Yeah. So when it became the opportunity for me to teach the graduate level and you had to have a master's degree, I had it.
You're right. I'm an NYU alumna.
Yes. Yes. What did you major in?
Economics.
Okay. All right, cool. So, which makes sense. But yeah, I, decided that I wanted to just make enough money to cover that tuition. Mm-hmm. And that was my only intention.
Which is so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. But I was like, let me just do that. So God is always good. And I'm always very grateful. I'm a very faithful servant of God, and always very clear about, if I'm connected to him, he will take care of all of it. And I mean, when I say that my old boss from In Demand, I did not talk to him in years. He called, he was like, hey, I'm working on this project. I was like, did you know? He's like, what? And I was like, did you know that? He was like, oh, no, I didn't know that. He's like, but you want to do it? And I was like, yeah. And then after that, Steve Stout, his assistant found me on Facebook and said, Steve Stout would like to meet with you. And I was like, what?
His assistant wouldn't be Tiffany Harden, would it be?
No, that was Lisa Musich. So Lisa and Tiffany, we were both there. They were, when I say assistant, Lisa assisted him, but Tiffany was a real assistant, and Lisa was like his right-hand woman.
Yeah, she used to help me out a lot with random things.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And essentially there was an angel. Her name was Tierney Monaco. She was my client on my Wrigley piece of business at Live Nation. And she was also Steve's client at Translation. And somehow, I guess he was talking about hiring, and she'd said, listen, there was this girl who managed the piece of business at Live Nation since she's been gone. This is what he told me. Since she's been gone, it hasn't been the same. If you can find her, she's really good. And so he was like, so what do you want to do? He's like, with your background, whatever you want to do. So I became his chief of staff at Translation for a couple of years.
Oh,
And
wow.
while I was, yeah. And so
Were you
while
there during the whole fawn period?
yes, I was. Yes,
Okay,
I
I
was.
used to go to your events.
Yes, I didn't work on the fawn business, right? So that was a totally different, that was a team for that. But out of that, I worked with Fawn again because I got the invitation while I was there from him to go be the chief marketing officer of Carol's daughter. We dealt with them there as well.
Oh,
So that's
I'm
kind of what happened.
today. I have no idea. So you guys, I met Olivia through work. And there's so much I don't know about her, and I'm learning about her today on today's call. She's so humble and doesn't share.
Well, because it's like, when do you have time to talk about this stuff? I mean, I appreciate it. It's like, when do you have time to talk about like what you've been doing for the past 30 years? You know what I mean? It's about what you're doing right now.
Fitness and like other stuff, not our backgrounds, which is refreshing, you know?
Yeah. And I've never led with all of that. It's like those experiences have given me what I need to do today. But so I appreciate this. It's like, it's what I've done over the years, what God has afforded me to be able to do with my skills.
Right. So tell everybody where they can find out about you. Tell them about your first website, your business website.
Yep. So omergealliances.com. Right. And from there, you're going to find the freedomatthemat.com link there. So there, and then I invite you to check us out on Medium. I write my articles and publish those articles there. So if you're interested in how I think from a marketing perspective, the Medium channel is really good for that too. So Omerge Alliances, and it's there too. So if you just go to omergealliances.com, you're going to see the Medium link. You're going to see the Freedom at the Mat link. You're going to see everything there.
So tell everyone about you're a yogi.
Yes, I am.
Tell everyone about your yogi life, and
thank you.
You're a teacher, and you also have a brand called Freedom of the Mat. So can you please let everybody know about that as well?
I appreciate that, Nickie, very much. So I got divorced in 20.
Look it, I didn't even know 14. You had been married.
I know everybody who works at Essence, they were like, wait, what? You what? There was a whole nother life.
I've been married too.
Oh, that's right. You have mentioned, you've mentioned. But it's like, there's no reason to bring it up. There's no reason, but he's lovely. He's absolutely lovely, actually. But the bottom line was, here's what happened. So I was in Harlem, and my departure from Harlem was a hard departure. Like, I remember crying on the floor of my living room. I did not want to go to Jersey. But anyway, when I got it's like, what you trying to do, like the adult thing, you trying to be a big girl and like,
be responsible.
You're trying, but it was hard. And I came right back. I was like, I'm not responsible. I want to go back to my doorman building where I get packages downstairs. Like, I just need to go back to being irresponsible. But when we moved to Jersey, the gym did not, and this is really the true story, because I'd taken yoga, my first yoga class, 1996 in Chicago. Hated it, fell asleep, was like, I'll never do it again. I'm good on that. Fell asleep, snoring, not gonna do it. And then I'd done some Bikram in Harlem with my girlfriend. I didn't really like it, a little too militaristic for me, but I did the 30-day challenge with my friend, and I enjoyed anything physical, but I had some injuries I sustained from Bikram yoga as well. So I kind of chilled. But when I moved to Jersey, the gym did not have spin classes on Saturday mornings, which is what I had been doing for 15 years in Harlem. Spin class, 9:00 every morning at New York Sports Club on 145th Street in Frederick Douglass. That's what I did. So they didn't have the classes, but they had a yoga class. And I was like, all right. Went in really reluctantly. And from there was a history. My teacher, Mariani Benthen, she was like, dope, really dope, and very physical and athletic with it, which is what I needed. I couldn't just do like
NASA.
Yes, that's what I didn't, and I didn't know enough to know that I had done bigger. I didn't really know that there were all these different types. I really didn't. So she was amazing, and she took me under her wing, and then I followed her to her studio, and she was like, "You should get certified." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "You're good. You should do it." And I was like, "Nice." I went to India, did the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man. Most yogis go to India at some point, Nickie. We have to.
Oh, wow.
We're gonna connect. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. So I've been a yogi ever since. And I was at a Asheville Yoga Festival. And when I was at the Asheville Yoga Festival, that was when I was in Rusty Wells' class. He teaches a bhakti yoga, which is a more reverent style of yoga. It's a vinyasa though still. And I was on my mat and he was encouraging us to like, you know, stay in poses longer. And he was like, if you're in that relationship, do you want to stay a little longer? I mean, stay a little longer. And I remember I was in like Warrior 2 and I was dying. And I was like, in my head, I had this profound mind, body, spirit connection because of how he was stretching us. And I was like, you know what? I'm leaving this at the mat today. In my head, based on a relationship I was in at the time, I was like, I'm leaving this at the mat today.
What is that?
So it was like in my head, when I entered that class that day, Nickie, I was completely fraught with concerns about my boyfriend at the time. And I was just overwhelmed with, should I stay in the relationship? Should I leave the relationship? And I was like, I'm resolving that I am not going to keep hyper obsessing about this. I'm going to leave this situation at the mat today.
You were ruminating.
Yes, I was doing a lot of rumination. And I was like, I'm leaving this at the mat today. And so I got home from the festival and I was up all night at his house, actually. And I wrote the presentation, Freedom at the Mat. And it was called The Intentional Living Movement Presents Freedom at the Mat.
Yeah.
And I'm changing my Facebook to living I mean, I was very clear about living intentionally and I was going to find some freedom at the mat. I love the Adinkra symbols. So as you probably noticed, one of the Adinkra symbols for freedom is my emblem for freedom in the Freedom at the Mat logo. And I sent it to my church. My friend said, send it to the church, Freedom, which is First Corinthian Baptist Church in Harlem. They responded within 15 minutes and said, yes, you can teach it here at the Dream Center. And that's been it. Since 2017, we've been growing.
Around. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I love it. So basically, you started this yoga journey with the intention of it helping yourself. And then now it's influencing everybody else to help themselves.
That's the goal. That's the goal, Nickie. That's what I hope. You know, and I really make it about women. And I've been questioned many times from many of my male friends about, why are you being discriminatory? Why are you leaving the guys out? The guys need this too. And I'm like, I'm here for that. But I really want women to have a refuge, for them to have a specific place that if you're in your home and you need a space for yourself, this is that place for you.
Right. So tell us about your new series. You launched this about a month ago, perhaps?
So the series, the whole online situation or what?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So I moved to New Orleans, right, to get a break from New York. And I planned to just do as I've been doing in Harlem, which is I would teach these random 4-week class sessions in Harlem randomly. And so I was going to start teaching once a month here. April 5th was my first class. I bring that up. I'm going to answer your question. I bring that up because COVID happened. And so I was like, I guess I'm not going to be teaching once a month at a location in New Orleans. And so I kind of was like, okay. And then one of my students from New York, Sharita, she called and she was like, can you offer some Freedom at the Mat online? And I was like, no. And she was like, why not? And I was like, well, I don't do that. I mean, it's really a class experience, you know, that you have in person. And she was like, but why not? And I already had my Zoom from NYU because I was teaching my NYU classes on Zoom. So I was at least familiar with teaching, interfacing with students, period, online. Right. So I just kind of had to figure out, okay, how to use the camera and have I had to kind of just work through that. And that's what we did. So we launched our first class online in mid-April, I believe. And then what we did after that was we launched all of the content, Freedom at the Mat YouTube series on June 10.
Right.
So in the Instagram too. So everything started really like in COVID. June 10 was the launch of everything. And it's been growing and emanating very naturally. And I'm just trying to let it grow because there was never really a plan for any of this. Like none of it.
I just think it's so interesting that when you told me you were moving, I was like, I can't believe she's leaving New York City. Like, because you just look at New York City as being the mecca of business. And then COVID happens, and then like everything that you want to do, you can do online. You don't even need to be here anymore. See how that works?
I do. I really do. And my therapist, because I've been wanting to leave New York for a long time. You know, I was over it after my divorce in 14. I was like, what am I doing? I moved back to the city. You know, I was just like, what am I doing? I kind of was a little aimless. I was still working. I was still doing work. It was fine. I think, you know, working with, and I will say this, in love and in truth, you know, and I remember telling certain people at Essences that working with the Essence team at certain times really kind of helped me because it gave me purpose for being there, you know, because after my mother passed and then and then, you know, it was just like, why my divorce? It was like, what am I doing here? You know, I had no real connection anymore. My family was in Memphis. Why was I still there? But I think that New York, it definitely I'd done the course of New York City. And then many of my friends, most of them left.
Really?
All of them except for two. I have one that's still in Brooklyn, and there's another one that's still there in New York, in Harlem. But most of them went to LA, two went to Dallas, one went to Charlotte, one went to Chicago. They all kind of just left, went back to their home countries. And so I was like, well, do I go back to my native country of Memphis?
Wait, you said home country.
Like, I did say home country. I did. Their home country
really operates like its own country, though. So that isn't a Freudian slip. That's kind of how it is right now.
Yeah. So I was like, where am I going? So for a long time, I prayed and prayed and prayed. For 3 years, I was really, 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 really in it. Like, where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? And finally, a colleague who was from Memphis but living in New Orleans was like, because I was moving in Denver. I'd made my mind up on Denver. That's what I decided.
Proudborn.
Yes! Denver was where I was going to go. I'd already gone out, scoped it out, was making some inroads to some relationships, and I was good. And I was like, I'm moving out here. It was great.
For a while. I'd rather live in Denver than LA.
Me too. I have no interest in LA. No interest in LA. And that was pretty much it. I got out. I just left my flight from Denver, coming back to New York from Denver. And my colleague reached out to me in New Orleans, but from Memphis. And she was like, I just want to put a ring in the hat for New Orleans. Just think about it. And I'd never thought about it. I was like, why? And she was like, well, your father's 83. You're going to want to spend more time with him because once they're gone, they're gone. You're going to want to spend his twilight years with him. You'll be closer to him. Memphis still has a lot of segregation issues. She said, you won't be dealing with that. And she's actually not Black. She was just like, you won't be dealing with as much racism as the Black business owners as you would in Memphis. So you should just try here first. And then if you don't like it, go to Denver. And I had a couple of friends here that I was like, who knew I had already chosen Denver. And I was like, what do you think, Denver or New Orleans? And they were like, New Orleans? You know, they were like, of course, you know. And so I said, sure. I had no commitment. I said, you know what? I'm gonna come down and I'm gonna do it in a real non-committal way. Still go back and forth to New York when I need to. And if I need to go to Denver next, I will. So that's it, girl.
How was New Orleans before COVID?
It was fine. I mean, I hesitate, Nickie, because it was weird. I was still like, my stuff didn't get here until like January 15th. I was sleeping on my couch. It was my move here because I went to Ghana first. I did New York, Ghana, then I got here. So it was like, by the time I got settled and then we started planning on the Essence Wellness House, quite honestly. And then I went to Memphis like once or twice in that time period. So I was only here for like 2 or 3 weekends before COVID hit. So I was still like, wait, what I can't even go out. I just got here. So I'm finding now, you know, that I am meeting a few more people because we're actually going out. But to answer your question directly, it was fine, but I just gotten here. I didn't really spend a lot of time hanging out with people. I'd gone to like one Raphael Sadiq concert at House of Blues. Yeah, one other friend had a birthday party at House of Blues. I've been to House of Blues twice during that time. And that was kind of it. Like one house party the week of the shutdown. And that was it.
Wow. That's crazy. So are people wearing masks there? Like, how are you meeting people? I mean, are you apprehensive that you don't really know them that well? And they, are they going to take their mask off? Like, how's this working?
I mean, today when I went out, I was just like, I'm not even really sure what I'm supposed to be doing because I was meeting someone for conversations, for cocktails and conversations. And we were going to clearly be drinking. So I went to the building without the mask, going back to my car to get the mask. But then as soon as I got to the table, I took it off. So I was like, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
I had a business meeting yesterday and I've been taking my temperature all day long. I just think I would need to stay in the house, honestly. I don't need to meet anybody new.
Right.
Stay with Carter and just stay in my little circle.
You do.
Hey, if you want to meet me for business, Zoom, okay? I feel comfortable going out, meeting you in person. I'm just being honest.
Just not comfortable.
Carter was sweating during her nap. I'm like, are you okay? Bring out the thermometer, taking temperatures. Like the anxiety.
Yeah.
The anxiety.
That's
So
real talk.
going on any vacations? I know a lot of people are hopping around to like Jamaica and Mexico.
No, I mean, no, I can't really even say it. Like, I mean, Nickie, we talked about this at the top. I'm exhausted. I'm just exhausted.
Yeah, I'm taking tomorrow off.
Well, and when I say that, thank you. Like, I'm trying to finish. I'm trying to upload this video tonight for Freedom at the Mat. I try to upload them on Saturday mornings. I'm trying to get them done tonight. But my point to you is when I say I'm exhausted, it's like, I don't even feel like planning it. So what I'm thinking about, because my birthday is November 4th. So I'm thinking about driving. It's a very big deal down here to drive to Gulfport, Mississippi. It's a thing.
Is it going to be hot?
No, I don't think so.
But it's Gulfport, Mississippi.
I don't know, because that's what people do down here. They go to Biloxi and they go to Gulfport.
I'm sorry, that sounds really scary. Can I tell you one time my mother took me to Natchez, Mississippi, and I saw a mouse in someone's house, and the next day my mother booked a flight to take me back to Los Angeles. We don't do that. We don't do dirt without shoes, mice, or anything else.
Yeah, I have lizards in my apartment here. I have spiders. It's a lot happening. It's a lot of wildlife that's happening. We saw a rooster the other day in the street. It's a lot. It's definitely called. And Memphis. One of the things I learned, Nickie, was that Memphis truly is the Mid-South. This is the Deep South.
Wow, I've never been to New Orleans. I've been to Natchez, Mississippi.
Well, you were in the Deep South. You've been in the Deep South.
I stayed for one day and asked to leave.
Oh.
And now I think I need to call my mom and thank her, because most parents would be like, no, do you need to deal with this? She
right.
Politely booked our flight the next day and we left. Because I was scared of everything. Every bug, every sound. It just was not for me.
You weren't interested.
No, not at all.
Yeah. No, I got it. And I'm dealing with the wildlife that's over here, but it's quite wild. It's quite wild.
I just had some big bugs this summer.
They have huge in my house. I had a flying something, and I was like, "What is that?" It was gigantic. Like, this is just a lot.
We cannot bring Carter there. Carter is truly a city girl.
Yeah.
I think all those years in living in Manhattan, she never saw any bugs. And then to be in Brooklyn, like a moth, a fly, she freaks out. She cannot handle New Orleans.
I can't really handle it, but I do. And I want to sit on the porch, but all the mosquitoes eat me up. It's a thing.
Yaku said she would freak out.
Yeah.
Oh, are you saying, Yaku, there's no bugs in Philly?
Right.
Now, there's not a lot of bugs in Denver.
Maybe that's
not a lot of bugs in LA. Like, we have big beetles.
Okay.
But Yeah, the Deep South has some other things going on.
They do. I literally was in my sunroom the other day and I saw a lizard and I was like, what do I do? Do I kill it? Do I step on it? And I just embraced it.
Lizard.
But it was a baby lizard. It was a baby one, but I let it live. I just let it go out. It just went outside.
Oh, you just opened up the door for it and let it walk out?
Well, I'm lying. It actually just kind of like crawled around the woodwork and went outside, I guess, the back of the house.
Oh, she goes, when you mentioned the mouse. Yeah, I don't like rodents. I actually used to get in trouble with my grandmother by killing spiders. She would save spiders in jars. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. I think she was very superstitious. So yeah.
Wow.
I think I killed a spider. I think I got a spanking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wadita.
I have to look that up and what that means. But yeah, I just don't like bugs, period. I'm just not into them at all.
There's a big, what's interesting is I didn't know about this. They have a mosquito machine.
Ew.
A mosquito spraying machine that it's like a sanitation truck. And it comes through.
Kill the mosquitoes.
And it comes by apparently a couple of times a year. Because a friend was here in my home and I was like, what's that sound? He was like, you don't know, you haven't heard the mosquito spraying machine? I was like, no, I'm not familiar with the mosquito spraying machine. Why would I know the mosquito? He's like, no.
OMG. But this is my point. What do you think the mosquitoes actually do for us? They probably serve a purpose and then we're killing them. It's like a bee pollinating flowers. I'm sure a mosquito has a job.
I'm sure.
I don't know what that job is though. Do you?
I don't know what it does. I mean, it does suck a lot of blood. So maybe it's taking the blood and giving it to some other like ant or someone else to help another form of bug live. But I don't know. I'm sounding very ignorant right now. I don't know.
Oh, wow. You know what I asked Carter the other day? I said, why when you turn on the air conditioner, it's 70 degrees and it feels one way, but when you turn the heater on 70 degrees, it feels another way. It's both supposed to be 70 degrees.
Right. That's a really good question though.
Yeah. People say,
Yes.
Yes, but I'm starting to ramble.
That's okay. Thank you, love.
I'm gonna get tired. I was up at 6 o'clock in this morning managing something. Yeah, just event stuff and trying to keep things in line. And
that's what you do though. So I'm sure that you did it. I'm sure that project was better because
today. I don't know if I did such a good job today. Certain things were out of my control, but yeah, it was just a little bit of pressure. You know how I'm kind of like a little bit OCD and I like doing everything the right way the first time?
I do.
Everything just, didn't quite work out like that today. So.
Oh, okay. Well, bless you on that, sister. I mean, I think, I was telling somebody, sometimes you have to surrender, and I know I had a couple of moments like that this week, and I had to just be like, let's talk. Let's talk. Because the way you're doing this, the way I'm doing this, it's more than one way to get this thing done. But what I'm not going to do is do this. See, sometimes
it's not even a let's talk moment. It's kind of like it's out of my control. There's something I can do.
Okay.
I'm taking tomorrow off.
I love that. I love that.
I'm not going to stress myself out about something I have no control over. You know what I mean? Like, not everything can be perfect all the time as much as you want it to be, Well,
I think what I have been going for recently has been efficiency. Mm-hmm. I honestly, I'm proud of myself because my video that I launched 2 Saturdays ago, it was imperfect. There were a couple of sound glitches. Even the one tomorrow, it's going to be some sound glitches. So I'm kind of being okay with, I've embraced imperfection. Doing the very best that I can do, knowing that my level of excellency is always what I'm striving for. But when I need to turn it off, I need to turn it off.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So doing the best you can and just loving yourself through that and being like, this is the best I can do. And knowing that it wasn't like somebody's life was lost or that Carter was affected. I'm really just starting to really finally, and I think New Orleans is helping me with that. It's just kind of get into quality of life a little bit more.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Yeah, I'm just definitely not doing any work tomorrow. I might even turn my phone off, but my iMessages are attached to my computer. I
Okay.
turn them off for the session. So you can still get to me if you have an iPhone, but if you have an Android, most likely I don't want to talk to you anyway. So
Right. If you have an Android, probably not on my top list.
sorry, phone.
I know.
Like you email me or like iMessage me, you're not getting me tomorrow. I emailed 2 of my clients and I was like, hey, I gotta talk to you on Monday at 9:00.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not talking to you tomorrow. I'm tired. Yeah,
Good.
I'm gonna chillax tomorrow.
Good for you.
House is clean.
Nice.
Maybe
Spend
run
some,
6
huh?
miles and go to the gym.
Spend some time with that baby you got,
Wait,
that beautiful
I
baby.
spend time with Carter every day. Like we
Well, I
don't
just meant, no, I didn't mean like that. I just meant like
wait,
love on that baby.
has an Android. Yako, you're gonna have to email me if you need me, but you probably won't need me tomorrow. But yeah, sorry. I had Ihaku saved under DJ Diamond Cuts on my phone and was like, thought I was texting DJ Diamond Cuts, but it was. She's like, "Who is this? Hello, do you know Miss Sayida Rivera?"
I do.
She goes, "Hello, ladies.
Hello.
I
How
love."
are you, Saida?
I'm so glad that I discovered StreamYard. It's like been the best thing ever.
I'm gonna have to get like a tutorial on it.
No, I love it. And then Robo Brilliant said Black Excellence on a Friday night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it seems like these conversations really inspire people. And that's what I really want to do. I want to inspire other people to start their own business, to be entrepreneurs, to be self-sufficient. There's nothing wrong with having a job, but I just feel like you should always have multiple streams of revenue, and you still can be accountable to all your goals. You don't have to just do one thing. I think a lot of times, oh, we're great. Olivia, she asked how we are.
Wonderful. Thank you, love.
A lot of times, especially when you're working, people make it seem like you can only do one thing at a time, but there's just personalities that can manage multiple things and still be great at those things, whether it be an outside business, fitness, Lord knows what else. It's just all about having a team and delegating and
and I would, then to that point, I would also offer their tools that support you. Like I have had fancy hands is something I want to offer to everybody, right? If you don't use fancy hands, if you still have like a day job, which is again, is a beautiful thing to have that security. If you still have a day job and you're working on a side hustle, fancy hands is something, it's an assistant service. And I began using them, I feel like 2015. And
I think I might need fancy hands. What is it?
$5 was $25 a month, $5 per task, and they roll over. So anytime you need anything done, you can call them, or it's more of an email service. And you email them and say, hi, Fancy. And they've got a whole team of assistants that are available to you. And so, for instance, specific things I've needed over the years is like, for instance, I was looking for a moving service. Can you do some research on the top moving services? That's one. Work for us. So like if you're doing a program where you need some research on and some influencers, I give them an Excel chart to kind of give them some structure and say name, channel count, and what their engagement rate is. And they will go in and they'll drop in the names of the top 5 beauty bloggers or whatever you're looking for and the numbers. And then you're able to go in and also pull the email from the YouTube about page. They do all that stuff for you. And it's like $5 per task. So
wow.
to influencer research. Yeah, $25. And again, what I love about them, Nickie, is that it rolls over. So right now, because I've been using Kozia, who works on my team. I haven't used them in a while, but I did need them to do some research for me on land value in New Orleans. And I used 2 tasks the other day. I still have 11 because I haven't used them in a while.
Today, you should send me a referral fee.
I will. Yes, I will.
Referral code. I'm sorry.
Yep, I know what you meant. Yep. Yeah. So those are my point of sharing that's one. You have FreshBooks for your invoicing needs. They're like all these tools that are now available to us that we didn't necessarily have available back in the day, that make being an entrepreneur that has a full-time job makes it a little bit easier. Because when you have a full-time job, you still have to be committed to that full-time job. But
Right.
you have aspirations and you're like, how do I get it all done? Tools like that, those things helped me ease into it early on. And I'm still with FreshBooks. I'm still with Fancy Hands. You know, when I have a dedicated project, I'll like reach out to Ecosia, who I love so much, and others that support me. But yeah, there are other tools that can help you while you're getting there.
Right. So what projects are you working on now? Freedom of the Mat.
Freedom at the Mat. We're doing the Girls United Summit for Essence. We have another TBD virtual summit we're producing in November, which is excellent. I'm waiting for the contract to come back. I am teaching my competitive strategy at NYU. And I am also working on a couple of speaking engagements. That one this Wednesday, I have a couple more coming up in a few weeks. So I feel like that's it. I think that's it. Yeah.
Cool. And do you want to tell everyone about Girls United?
Sure. So glad you asked.
Mm-hmm.
So Essence has been a client that I've worked with for about 6 years. And that is where I know the lovely Miss Nickie and the lovely Missy Haku, who's in the house. And Essence, you know, as we all know, turned 50 years old this year. And when you have a brand that's turned 50 years old, your average age tends to be older. So Essence has finally decided to put some effort towards appealing to the Gen Z and the millennial girl. And so they have a new brand called Girls United GU. And so for the first time ever, we're creating an inaugural Girls United Summit. And on Saturday, October 10th, from 6 to 9 p.m., it's going to be a wonderful girls' fest. I hope Carter will tune in. And we're going to have Miss Teen Universe. We're going to have Cash Doll. We have Regina Carter as our host. We've got Marseille Martin. We've got a lot of beautiful Sierra Capri, a lot of young, beautiful Black and brown girls, Ashley Hayes, the list goes on, that have enlisted and that are going to share with the girls lots of interesting conversations and content. So that's what's happening.
And how can I register for Girls United?
You got to go to the Essence website, essence.com/girls. I think it's girls. I don't want to click off this, but it's like essence.com. It should be there, but it's like if you type in Girls United Summit Essence, it'll come up.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's free. It's free. And we got it down to 6 to 8 o'clock is for the first portion of it, which is the conversations and the fireside chats. We've got Choice Brown, Tabitha Brown's daughter, Amber Riley from Glee. We've got all these girls that are talking about mental health, talking about entrepreneurship, talking about getting the bag, you know, job skills, what it's like to be a girl looking for a job right now in the virtual stage of life. Because so many of our girls, you know, right now are really, and I know a couple of them, my students from NYU, that are just completely beside themselves with sadness. You know, you're entering a job. You mean, imagine, like, right? We've been around for a little while and we've seen some times go up and down. But if you're 20 years old and you're graduating or about to graduate, and you plan to have a good job at Google or a good job at wherever, and these companies are folding or these companies aren't hiring, you have a great deal of fear right now. And so really trying to allay these fears of these young girls and get them to unite. And also one of the things that it's been a guiding principle for us as we've developed the summit is, you know, a lot of the content with women that we see on television still pits us against one another. You know, whether it's Basketball Wives or any of these shows where the girls are fighting over the man or whatever. And so we're encouraging our girls to be united, right? To stand together and to support each other and to really drive that message of sisterhood with young Black and brown girls. So it'll be a fun 2 hours of content followed by a concert, after dark concert. So
I love it. I'm going to make sure that Carter tunes in. She is technically Gen Z, right?
Yeah, I think so. How old is she?
6.
Okay, I don't think she's Gen Z.
What is she, like Gen ZZ?
I think she's ZZ. She's ZZ. She's she's ZZ. Yeah.
Yeah, she's into Roblox, and I'll talk to you offline about the advertising they have on Roblox, which I think is really interesting because they're definitely trying to frame something and they have an agenda with young kids. I noticed it. The ad scrolling.
Roblox?
Roblox.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Loves TikTok.
I love TikTok too.
She likes watching skinless cats and dogs walking. It's so bizarre. Yeah. Yeah, I hear it's hilarious. She loves TikTok. So she thought Trump was going to shut down TikTok last Sunday. And she goes, what happened? I thought Trump was going to shut down TikTok. And I'm like, I have no idea, hun. I've been so busy. But
he didn't.
I have an interview at 11 o'clock. Can you believe that?
Tonight?
Yeah. A DJ interview.
That's for you because you're a DJ as well. Could you mind telling me all the things you do? I know we got to go, but can you just name the things that you are and you do?
No, I was a DJ first. I started Good Girl PR because I hired a publicist and they did a really bad job. So it was a joke. I was never supposed to be a publicist. Good Girl PR was supposed to be my publicist, but it was me.
Okay.
I worked on Wall Street for 15 years as a compliance officer.
Okay.
Leveraging my law background, and I worked at the Securities Exchange Commission in law school. So I'm a seasoned compliance officer.
Okay.
Yep. So I started Good Girl PR in 2006. It was like during the recession. I had bought a house in New Jersey, and I needed extra income for the house. So I'm like, hey, I can make money off this hustle. And then I don't like starting something and not finishing it. So you're tired too. See,
it's okay. It's okay.
So Good Girl PR was an accident. I wasn't supposed to be a publicist. I had always party promoted. Felicia actually used to attend my parties in high school.
Oh, wow.
Do art walks, and she would attend as well.
Okay.
Ironically, I'm still promoting events and I'm still doing art stuff.
Wow.
I just did that because I liked it.
Right.
I mean,
we should talk about your art stuff. I love art too. We should definitely.
I'm actually really good at sculpture. Nobody knows that, but
creating sculpture?
Yeah.
What?
But I don't have the time to like hone in on it. But yeah, I've always been into art, take art classes, always been working out, ran track, played soccer.
Nice.
Went to state in the 400-meter relay.
What?
Yeah, I've always been working out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything that I did when I'm younger, I'm still doing now. So I always loved music and DJing. I always loved working out, still working out, loved art. And now I freelance with Essence, which is great. And I have Good Girl PR and a couple of other businesses.
Yes. Other businesses outside of PR?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, I own a festival. Yeah, I have a couple other things that I do. Multiple
revenue streams.
No, it's other people doing the work. You have to make money while you sleep. So
well, and I want to we have to go, but one of the things that I have been, and we'll talk about it later, but I have been struggling with being schizophrenic in terms of what it looks like I am, which is why I grounded earlier with I'm a teacher, because I feel crazy. I feel crazy. When people say, what do you do? And I say, huh. You know what I mean? I'm like, what do I do? I don't
Maybe
even know.
You're just an entrepreneur.
Yeah, but like freedom mathematics isn't necessarily a financially lucrative venture right now. Like that wasn't made for money.
Normally when you're doing something you love, you make money at it eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Like it'll come. Like I need to put some real, and that's my goal tomorrow, is to sit down and really create some intentionality towards a business plan for Freedom Mathematics, because that was never where it was. So now that it's growing, I probably should put some time against it. But I feel crazy being like, well, I'm a yoga teacher and I've got a wellness platform and I have a marketing firm and I'm a professor. And I also...
That's not crazy.
It doesn't... Well, I mean, look who I'm talking to, right? Like you got a lot of stuff popping off as well. I don't know. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to, I don't, because, well, here's my thing. Here's what I'll say quickly. I have found that people who focus on one thing tend to be very successful. And the part of me that wants peace in my life really wants to have focus. I really do. And right now I don't have it. I'm like all over the place and it doesn't really feel great. Just because I can, should I? Just because I can teach yoga, should I? Just because I can edit my videos, should I? Just because I can teach
editing your videos, but
yeah.
Teaching yoga, yes.
Yeah. And I enjoy that. The yoga part, I guess, because I saw, like, to your point, I got into editing at a certain point because I saw some errors on a couple of them. And then, like, when you're working with people who are not yogis and, you know, they didn't match the soundtrack up when you said down dog and only you know when a down dog goes to the up dog, it's just like, I'll just do it. But that's not.
Yeah, I'm realizing that you have to, like, I have the Bed-Stuy Film Festival and actually Karen is on the line. I hired Karen to find the films.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing the social media. I have a graphic designer. I have a film editor. I delegate a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
My issue is, and I'm not talking about you in particular, Karen, because she's tuning in, but if I delegate graphic design or film, I don't want to have to edit mistakes. I kind of want to bring people on who say, that's wrong, let me fix it.
Right.
Like, right. My businesses are not going to be able to grow unless I attract talent that cares about the content. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So
that's probably a better.
That's the only time I feel all over the place, when I'm having to double check stuff. Otherwise, I sleep 8 hours a night. I'm getting my sleep. So, you know, like, I'm getting my sleep. Yeah. But at the same time, in order for your business to grow, you have to get uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can't always be chilling and living this 4-hour week work life. Like, sometimes you have to get your hands dirty and put in the work. So
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. Should it be like that forever? No.
Nope.
No.
Yeah. Well, thank you, girl. I know you got to go. You got 11 o'clock.
Yeah, hopefully he sent me let me see the Zoom. I actually did this interview already and he forgot to record it. And because I'm like, I need to start what I finish, I've been following up with him about completing it. Let's see.
Well, I thank everybody for joining us tonight.
Yeah,
if anybody should have any, I'm not sure who all is still on right now, but if you watch it later and you have any interest in working with me, whether on the marketing side or Freedom at the Mat, you can definitely reach out to me. LinkedIn is a good way. LinkedIn is much better than the other social channels, or Olivia at OmergeAlliances.com. But definitely, if you go to OmergeAlliances.com, all of my information is there as well.
I love it. So what are your plans for the rest of the evening?
I'm going to finish editing the video, okay, rendering it, getting it uploaded to YouTube for tomorrow morning launch. And I am hopefully going to go to bed within the next hour. I mean, that's really lofty because I've got to get this done, but that's my goal.
Well, thank you so much for joining.
Yes. Are you going to go to bed? What are you doing?
My interview is happening now.
Okay.
I'm glad I can close this out. And then I'm going to wash my face, wrap my hair, and go to bed.
Yes.
I'm not doing any work tomorrow.
Good for you. Yeah,
all
right, girl. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Namaste. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.